Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rom. Alongside me tonight, I have from the Great Midwest, Crom DV, aka RDV. He's usually with me on Tuesday nights, and Professor Pixel, who's unfortunately chosen to represent himself as a picture of Red Sonja with that annoying little kid character in tonight's movie, 1985, 7, whatever. Red Sonja, which, guys, I got to be honest with you, after rewatching this one, I went, now I know why I don't really rewatch this movie, because it's not bad, but, and insert your excuses for why you might not like it, but for me, after the high that was Conan last week and from an hour ago's discussion of Prince of Darkness, I've decided to stay as the Brotherhood of Sleep type character here, because this movie needed a Donald Pleasance in here, because we've got Red Sonja, but we don't have her, I think, in her bikini stuff. We've got Conan, but it's not Conan. And unfortunately, even though this was an attempt, and not a bad one, to do sword and sorcery at a higher level with Conan and all that, anything after Conan's going to be a slight, drop off for me. And this is a typical 80s kind of film. And again, it's not horrible, but I don't know where you'd put it with all the stuff we've done recently, like gore and everything else. It's tough. So I have my misgivings about it. I don't hate it. I'm not going to shit on it too hard, but I almost would rather watch Jack Palance breathing heavily and other stuff than this one, because if they had made this R-rated, like Conan the Destroyer should have been R-rated, this could have been a hell of a lot better, and you might have been able to have a Red Sonja franchise. And unfortunately, like a lot of things in the 80s, they dumbed it down enough for the general masses to make it somewhat popcorn friendly, and in doing so, I think ruined it, really, what potentially I thought could have been a much better film. Let's go around, and you guys, with your expertise in comic books and graphic novels and all that I don't have, might have some additional insights to it. But Pixel, let's start off with you. I assume that this was a first watch. What's your initial take?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect, first off. But I was ready to go ahead. Saw Conan. It was time to give Red Sonja her day in court. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's actually better than Gore. I think story-wise and just the amount of energy that's in there's a lot of fun in it. And there's still more nudity in this than Gore, because they had the topless dancing woman in the smoke. Don't forget. But that aside, no, I had a lot of fun with this one. I was able to enjoy even Tarn. He was really annoying. But
that makes one of us.
That makes one of us, yes. I know. But eventually it became such a staple. It was a fun side character for her little band of misfits. I'm not saying it's great. It's not. It's not. But I am able to enjoy it for what it is. And you know what? It's time to just throw that totem into the land of darkness and call it a day.
Well, there you go. RDV.
Yeah, I want to talk about this movie and how I wasn't allowed to say Crom once at all. I couldn't call myself Conan. This is bullshit. Actually, no, this movie, the best parts is when they actually have fake Conan come on and actually fight with her alongside her. She runs away. There's a scene where they're fighting in the temple here, and then they're fighting with the guards. She gets on her horse, hightails, leaves Conan. Conan knocks out a giant shelf of armaments and then runs out to, follows up to her. Conan looks magnificent here. We can't call him Conan. We have to call him, was it Calidor? I think it was.
Chump, I believe was the term.
And then we also have Sandra Bergman in here reprising her. Wait. She's dead. Oh, she plays the queen in here. I was reading over the reviews of this. I gotta agree, after watching this is my second time watching it. I watched it a long time ago, and I couldn't remember if I liked it or not because it's been that damn long.
Right.
This takes place after Conan the Destroyer, and I was looking up. So I gotta agree with Siska Lieber. This almost seems like a spoof parody.
Yeah. Because Conan the Destroyer was a film that I've said before, if they kept it R-rated like Conan, it could have been great. Because now look, I'm a big Wilt Chamberlain mark, and he made the movie for me, surprisingly so, because he is legitimately that strong and all that, or was, I should say. But if they'd let the spoofiness and campiness or the Indiana Jones aspect out of this, I agree with you totally.
Yeah. I I guess this was a huge box office bomb.
Yep.
No surprising though. But it fits right up there with the gore though, as far as being a cult classic though.
Well, I think the idea of having a female lead like this, and I think we should all take a moment to talk about it. Bridget Nielsen was very new on the scene at this time here with Rocky IV and whatnot in this film, and she looks great in it. Actually, she really does. I think she's not bad for the part, especially as a newbie person. What did you think?
To me, it was the bad hairstyle.
Yeah, the hair needed fixed.
She wearing a weave?
It looked like she had a mullet.
She had the classic normal Bridget Nielsen hairstyle, where she wore in Rocky IV, probably the same year. And they just added like extensions to the back of it, so it looked like it looked kind of funky.
Very fit looking.
But it's funny though. You look at the movie poster; they put her on a little small character Red Sonja in the front, and then behind her, the giant Conan. Obviously, because they knew this film was not going to sell well.
Because Arnie is a big draw. I mean,
we forgot, and that's the funny thing is about Conan the Barbarian. Hardly spoke in his movie, and it was everything around him plus him just being Conan. It was awesome. This Sonja is on here from 90% of the movie. They have Calidor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, rip out Conan, and here for like half the movie, actually less than half the movie, being top billed. That was another thing I noticed too, and of course the critics noticed that too as well. So that wasn't the only one.
I mean, Red Sonja, the title character, was in this movie for 90% of it. Oh my gosh!
Well, no, the top supporting character is only in it for like a fourth of the movie. Just imagine how much this guy's being paid.
Well, it's a classic Hollywood bait and switch.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunately is when they do stuff like today, from one of the second level directors of this movie from 10 years ago that sounded really important related to Avatar. Oh my God, they're really going to do it. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. When you have first-time showrunners, you can't expect a high-quality product. I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep defaulting to that Pixel, my fault, but
I gotta say though, having Conan here, obviously Conan's the draw. It's not even Sonja herself. It's basically like for people who watch Princess Bride, you watch it for Maddie Packins. You don't watch it for the actual main characters because the side characters are interesting. And that's the same problem with Conan here. When he comes in, his just raw physique, dude. You're like, oh my gosh. Or maybe it's because we just watched Conan the Barbarian last week.
I think you're just slobbering over Arnie a little bit much, man. I was here for Red Sonja.
I know you were, but I knew going into this she wasn't in here.
She was.
Oh, she wasn't. We got Bridget Nielsen. It was funny because I was looking up because I was looking at more information on this. Eileen Davidson apparently was like the second runner-up for this, and I was looking at her. She was a model back in the day, but they wanted someone who's had a more, I guess, Amazonian physique.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm thinking like, Red Sonja she's not jacked like Arnold though.
No,
she's not meant to be that way.
And she's fit. She's not a skinny mini. I thought she looked the part fairly well. Yeah. The costumes maybe not, but as a younger person starting off in that, it's tough because if the movie's about Red Sonja, and if you need to falsely advertise the Conan, not Conan thing with Arnold in it, you're already displaying to everybody that you don't have faith in Red Sonja. And unfortunately, I think what happens here is, as bad as Conan the Destroyer was and awful and how PG rated it was instead of R, it diminishes Conan as well. So nobody's being elevated by this at all.
Well, that's the thing. Conan didn't have any famous supporting actors. By this time, Conan was already famous more than she was. She was a nobody.
Yep.
And putting him in the side character, people wanted to see more of him.
But he is the side character. It's called Red Sonja.
That's the problem, though, Pixel. If you're gonna do a character, if your main character is gonna be a nobody, and you're gonna put a more famous actor in here that people already love, Conan the Barbarian. The problem is they should have had Conan in here whatsoever. They should have had a nobody.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally do, because it places the emphasis on where it needs to be, which is the name of the movie, Red Sonja.
Yeah.
And let's be honest here, without getting into graphic detail, people can imagine it. You guys know a little bit about her backstory, about how she debuted in Conan way back in the day, and a couple stories and stuff. And I'm not too familiar with whatever series she's been in or how her.
She was by Rick Thomas. Yeah, she did her own spin-off series. But
let's say she had a less than pleasant introduction to the world of men. In a way that only women can.
You can say it on here. You're not going to get in trouble. We're not monetized.
I'll let people think about it in their own way. The point is this movie didn't feel like that character.
No, they definitely changed and hammed up the origin compared to what it was. Mm-hmm. So much that even in the Dynamite comic books later on, 2015, felt uneasy about that. After all these years, let's change the origin. Let's say she wasn't, manhandled, when she was a teenager. This was kind of risen for this movie too, because I love the comic book form, even the Marvel version of the character. And seeing this, it's like, again, I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't like this much, because it was nothing like what Robert E. Howard's at the comic books. But go ahead.
I was going to say, Pixel, I wanted to switch this over to you for a second. You mentioned something backstage I think is kind of pertinent in a way, too, in terms of character with the styles. One thing I noticed when I went to send out the tweet advertising was just here in Central Florida, you and I are cognizantly aware of the vast amount of cosplay that goes on, not just for conventions and whatnot, but here in the Central Florida area. And it's a much bigger thing than what it ever used to be. And it seems to do nothing but grow. I saw some tremendous people in fantastic outfits, fit-looking women that I was like, wow, you could do Red Sonja and make her, less than Amazon. You can make her kind of hardcore sexy or whatever you want. And I get why it's an attractive person to portray if you can pull it off. But their costumes in here suck to me, and I agree with you. They should have had something with the that. I know you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
No. Listen, like one of the main fashion pieces of Red Sonja is that chainmail bikini. Totally impractical, yes, but that part of the ridiculousness, it's there. I mean, even today, I know they try to push it away, and they have other styles, but you can't beat the classic. So not having that, but I'm able to push past that. Like, the costumes in here are terrible. Absolutely. No, I don't disagree. But that's for the movie itself, I was able to push past it. She did look good other than the hair. If they had fixed the hair properly, I think she would have looked just fine. But instead she looks like she has a mullet.
I would have went with
Sandal. Were a thing back then.
Now, see, I would have went with Sandahl Bergman being actually Red Sonja, not Bridget Nielsen. The fact that she was a breakout character from Conan the Barbarian. I'm just saying that's my problem with the casting was this: that you had a better actress in here playing the evil queen.
No, I wouldn't have made her the evil queen because she's not near as attractive at all.
Who's that?
No, I mean, I understand Conan's love interest. Yes, she was fine in Conan, but here, no, it's not a competition. There's no doubt that Red Sonja in this is far more attractive than the evil queen.
Who said there's a competition? No, I'm just saying I would have went with the better actress who actually was known, who actually people love from the the first movie, Conan. There, it would have made more sense.
I agree with that too. I mean, not that either woman's unattractive, but
no, I'm not saying
I can easily see Bridget sitting on a throne, very queenish like, whereas Bergman is as a dancer, like we talked about last week with Conan. To me, she'd be more natural with the sword in her hand and moving around and all that too. It just would have been, it would have brought a little bit more reliability into the quote unquote fight scenes.
And I would have had Arnold dressed as Conan, or something else.
I think you just have a Conan hard on, my friend.
I think you just don't want to open your mind to actual better possibilities. There's a reason why this movie tanked. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying there's a lot of flaws with this.
No, I'm not saying that there are flaws. I'm just saying when it comes to what we have, because that's what we're judging. We're judging what we have. I do not see Sandahl Bergman as Red Sonja. I don't think she. No.
Dude, do you ever read have you ever read the comic books before?
I've read some of them, but I'm saying just visually, she's not. I'm sorry. She's not my taste. Her face does not fit Red Sonja.
Guess what? Bridget Nielsen does not fit Red Sonja whatsoever.
Well, we're going to have
to this version, sure, because it's not Red Sonja.
Well, let me bring up something that you and I talked about, Pixel, before the stream. We did Prince of Darkness by John Carpenter from '87.
Yep.
One of the interesting comments about there bringing up was, as a first watch for you, how much you like the idea that they took this kind of cosmic sort of idea of good and evil and how it's wrapped in religion and how it's related to quantum physics. And it's kind of heady stuff, but, it was an interesting watch. And I think that when you talk about in Prince of Darkness, do you really see the Prince of Darkness in here? And you kind of argue in a way that you do. Red Sonja suffers from the same problem that Prince of Darkness seems to have from a lot of critics in that, when you have Red Sonja, you want to see Red Sonja. You don't want to see a dumbed down version. If you're going to say Prince of Darkness, you need to have him in there. Some people think. You and I disagree and think it was fine the way it was. But in this movie here, it's, again, if you're going to have Conan in there, it needs to be Conan. It can't be, oh, we knew that's supposed to be Conan. Don't. And again, it goes back to where here in the mid-'80s, it didn't matter. You knew what the movie was going to be, but there was starting to be a backlash against all these watered-down popcorn type films because like I said at the beginning of the stream, bait and switch. Oh, we got Conan showing up in Red Sonja? Okay, cool. And just like RDB mentioned with the poster, people started even in the 80s where you could watch anything and just be entertained because, America, positivity, 1980s music, the training montages, all that kind of stuff. And just, it doesn't matter. It can be cool. And there was a lot of different things to watch. This movie ultimately bombed before it opened. And I'm telling you that as having lived in the 80s because of those factors. In a way, this movie never had a chance to be successful because of how poorly they dealt with the advertising of it and the way they presented it to the public.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just judging the movie for what it is. He's not Conan in here. And to say that even though, yes, that's Arnie, he played Conan, they act totally different. And to say that they acted all similar is crazy.
He was intended. No, I understand they changed the name at the last minute, but he was intended to be Conan the Barbarian.
Well, Conan didn't act like I don't remember what his name is at this. Really?
Wait, you don't remember Arnold's name?
Calidor.
I was gonna say.
Calidor has personality. He speaks. He is able to go ahead and have full-on conversations.
Have you watched Destroyer?
No.
Conan speaks more in Destroyer.
Well, that's why you hate it, though.
No.
You'll know why when you watch it.
yeah, because but then again, he may like this. He might because he likes this movie. It's the same director.
I'm able to have fun with it. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but
you liked the kid in this film. I despised him. So you might like Conan Destroyer because they have an annoying sidekick in there as well. So tell us, what was it about the fact that they had this kid in there that should have been drawn and quartered? That would have been cool. But you liked it.
He was being pulled apart. That was great. When he was being pulled apart, that was awesome. And then whenever they go ahead and he does get freed, he pulls out this little sword and he starts swinging it. It's so stupid, but it's fun. That's the main thing about this. This isn't like gore where it's trying to be like you have something there that could be completely serious. You can take it and it's fine, and it's just totally undercut by the performances and a lot of the dialogue. Here with that, it's camp, but it's camp that fits. It fits the tone, and I think that I was able to have fun with it. That's the main thing.
I understand that. I'm not saying I didn't have fun watching it. I'm just saying that it's a bad fun movie.
It's better than gore.
I think gore is just as fun to me.
Gore had better actors.
Yeah.
And hotter women.
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's just whenever, I mean, I'm a huge Red Sonja fan. I've read all the comic books, read all the Diamond stuff, Marvel stuff. When I see Red Sonja on the screen, the only character I can think of that's that comes close to it is the Xena Warrior Princess show. The way they actually made her imposing. In this, she wasn't really imposing. Sorry, Bridget Nielsen, yes, herself is, but the men around her didn't seem like they were afraid of her.
No, but that was kind of the whole point. Like, no, they weren't afraid. Oh, this woman, what's she going to do? And then she goes ahead and shows the skills she learned. I don't know what you mean. Like, if the queen was, if it was the actress who plays the queen, Sandahl Bergman, it would be the same thing. It would still be, oh, yes, sure, lady, you're going to be able to fight me. But no,
it's the same problem I have with the new comic books. They took away the fact that she got her powers from the goddess after she was raped. She made a bargain, give up her her chastity. So made it more possible for her actually to go up against guys twice her size and be out fight them. This is just like, oh, she was just trained by this monk here, and then like, dude, she should have been like totally. I'm not saying she's a Mary Sue character in this. I'm just saying it just was not entertaining as she should have been.
I think you're looking to dislike it, but that's another matter.
Well, don't get offended. You can like this as much as you want. I'm not saying this is a bad movie, but I mean it's in a sense where you cannot watch it. I watched it. I got all the way through it. I was shocked. I was like, I got in like a fourth of the movie. I was like, wait, this is supposed to be Conan. And then there's Sandra Bernhard. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, why are they in this movie? Then it's Conan Destroyer director. And he basically brought in Conan because he knew his movie was going to bomb without Conan. And it still bombed.
Okay. That doesn't change what we're talking about.
Well, no, it doesn't change. It doesn't change the fact you liked it, though.
No, but I'm not trying. We're talking about the movie itself.
And yes, it does change about what I'm talking about. Actually, no, it doesn't. Because I'm still saying it's a sucky movie. It could have been better. Just like you hate gore, I love gore. So
gore is a very complicated thing because it could have been something.
Same with this
serious. But for here, you're simply wishing the queen was Red Sonja. In that Conan,
I'm wishing anybody was Red Sonja at this point because, like I said, that point out again, when you have Arnold Schwarzenegger drawing more attention than the main character, that's a problem.
I mean,
yeah, I think so too. And the other thing too that's disappointing about the way this is directed, and then we'll go around with our final thoughts here, is this director. I always go, oh, he's the guy. Whoever did Conan Destroyer screwed up. This guy has got so many good things under his belt. It's scary. I mean, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Compulsion. He's got Barabbas. He's got the Boston Strangler, Tora, the New Centurions, The Last Run. I think that's George C. Scott. Soylent Green, which we've covered. Mr. Majestic, we've covered that. RDV. The Jazz Singer. This guy is no slouch.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Conan the Destroyer and Sonja going, how did he fail? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Sometimes it's not that a director can't make a good movie, but it's just they don't get what it is that's supposed to be made, or at least that the audience thinks is going to be made. And that disconnect, unfortunately, back then, in this case, ruined what could have been a decent franchise. And unfortunately, by today's terms, you have newbie guys, first-time showrunners and stuff like that, and movie makers that, well, I wanted to make something that was a cross of this, and this. And it's like you don't really know what you're making. You're just thinking you do. Like, Stranger Things comes to mind and a few other things. But it just leaves me shaking my head because I agree with both you guys. It's entertaining in a way. I could never watch it again. And I look at this film and I come away going, instead of being entertained, I go, what a disappointment. This could have been something. And unfortunately, I can't shake that after having watched it again. And now I go, I know why. So I agree with RDV on that. And Pixel, you're a little bit more entertained by it. So let's do this. That's pretty much my final thoughts. Let's go around for some final thoughts. And if you guys have any more insight on how this film should have been based off of the graphic novels or anything like that, feel free to drop that in too, because you guys definitely have that knowledge.
I'll let the simp go first.
Simp. Okay, hater. No, I think that this is very campy. It's very fun. If you're going to sit around, I think the music, we've talked about the music in Hawk the Slayer, talked about music in Conan, even in Gore. I wasn't as big of a fan of the music.
Synthwave, baby.
But here, I think it's just good. I think that you're going to have a good time if you haven't seen this before, and if you rewatch it, if you're just looking for a good time, here it is.
Final thoughts: watch it with a group of friends. It might be better.
It's one of those. You have it on and everybody's drunk. It's definitely a 3 or 4 beer movie at least.
It's just funny because I got to point out that Ed's like, is this when she's like basically like boning a married man, Sylvester?
I think they're definitely married by at least 86 or whenever they filmed.
After this, yeah.
Yeah, that's Cobra. I think definitely by then, which I think was next year.
He likes taller women. That's all it is, you know.
Hey yo, if Red Sonja wants to sleep with you, then it's like.
Well, that's the thing though. The reason they had to get a tall woman because they had freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger here, so they had because what's her name was actually tall too, Sandra Bergman, but they wanted someone taller than Sandra Bergman because Sandra Bergman's supposed to be the villain.
Well, they're both 5'9" legitimate or taller, and Arnie, I don't think was ever 6'2".
I think Bridget Nielsen's taller than that. I think she's like 5'.
Yeah, she's 6'1".
Yeah.
Bridget Nielsen 6'1".
Very statuesque, and Bergman's probably a 5'10", 6 footer.
She's got to be at least,
which is tall for a dancer, but very elegant mover.
She was also a fitness instructor too, wasn't she? For a while.
In the 80s, there was Billy Blanks with Ty Bo and a bunch of other stuff, and I think she did something along those lines.
She's 5'10" is Sandra Bergman.
Listed, that means she's probably 5'9".
Sandahl Bergman, not Sandra. Yeah. Totally figured.
Well, there you have it, guys. Red Sonja, it's not a confrontational review, but it's a divisive one at that. But watch it and see for yourselves. Or don't. Go watch Prince of Darkness because that might be the better film, but maybe less entertaining. It all depends on your tastes here. But check us out next week on Sunday when we have what we're going to be calling Slasher Sundays here, where we're going to be doing some alternative type horror movies that you, the fans, help us select.
It's going to get bloody.
Yeah, and if you check out our list from last week, you'll see a list of some of them that were mentioned there too. Short list including like The Howling, some Dario Argento films, blah blah blah, a lot of different ones. A lot of Euro trash ones, as I like to call them, because they're very different than Americans. But let us know what you'd like us to cover. We'll be sure to take a look at that as well.
One quick fact: Bergman turned down the role. She was off the role first.
Smart woman. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, have a good night. Remember, stay extreme.
Grom!